Hey there, welcome to the latest episode of the Sexy Thyroid Solution. I'm your host, Angela Brown. So today I want to talk about hypothyroidism and toxins. But if you could do me a big favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you could subscribe to my channel and then you'll hit that little bell so you get a notification every Thursday when I release a new video. And then if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, go ahead and like this and maybe share it with someone. So this is a topic I really like talking about because it's something that it's not a normal conversation. It's not something that really is talked about a ton in the thyroid world. So I love shedding light on it. My one-on-one clients love when we talk about this because sometimes they've heard of it, but the majority of the time they don't really know why, or they just haven't heard of it at all as being a connection to a slow thyroid. You've heard me talk time and time again how having a slow thyroid is super common, but you don't need to be diagnosed with hypothyroidism to have the thyroid being slowed down. This is something that can slow the thyroid down, and I see it time and time again. Keep in mind, one of the major areas in your body, the majority of thyroid hormone conversion happens in the liver. Liver is your detoxification organ. If it is constantly being bombarded over and over and over by toxins and chemicals that aren't supposed to be there, the liver can only do so much. It's going to slack on thyroid hormone conversion. What I mean by thyroid hormone conversion, and I've talked about this before, T4 is inactive thyroid hormone and T3 is active thyroid hormone, and you have to convert T4 over to T3 because you don't make enough T3. You only make 20%-ish of active T3, and so you have to convert a very large percentage of T4 over, and most of that happens in the liver. So if your liver is bombarded and it's slowed down, your thyroid's going to pay the price. So a couple things that can happen when there's this connection between toxins and thyroid. One is chemicals can actually act as a goitrogen, and that basically can result in goiters on the thyroid. And I've seen this happen quite often, actually. The other thing to also consider is that chemicals can also promote like an autoimmune response. A lot of people have this and they don't even know it. Well, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is the autoimmune side. It's the autoimmune thyroid disease. And unfortunately, a lot of chemical overload can actually flare that up. And so I really like to address that with Hashimoto's. Something else to also consider. Some chemicals, and there's quite a few unfortunately, that can actually interrupt your thyroid signaling pathway. So something like BPA, which is common, it's in all kinds of plastics, it can actually bind to your T3 receptor sites. T3, again, is your active thyroid hormone. So when it binds to that T3 receptor, it competes with that T3 receptor, and there goes your active thyroid hormone. So this is how chemicals end up being called, and I'm sure you've heard of endocrine disruptors. That's how it happens. They compete for that T3 receptor. That is your active thyroid hormone. So that's why it is so essential to make sure that you are eliminating toxins and chemicals and things like that in your body as much as you can. Control what you can. There are some things you can't control. You cannot control when you go outside and a truck goes by and you can smell the gas from the car or whatever. The things in the air, some of those things you can't control. And again, that's why you have your liver is going to help detox things, but control what you can. So what are some things that you can control? One of the big ones is eating as organic as you can. One thing I will suggest is you can go to, and I know some of you probably have heard of this, the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, EWG.org actually has their Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 list. I have it as well. If you want it, I can give it to you as well. But basically, essentially is saying, these are the 15 foods in your area that we found that are more conducive, that there's less pesticides being used. You don't necessarily have to buy them organic. Here's a Dirty Dozen. These have to be organic because they're pesticides to death, and so you need to really get those organic as much as possible. That's a really, really good suggestion. Something else to also consider is the water you're consuming. Drinking tap water, and almost all the women that come to me have been drinking tap water, and we have to take them off tap water because tap water has a ton of chemicals and toxins and things like that in them that are not good for you. So I highly, highly suggest filtered water. If you would like a list, I do have a list of the waters that I suggest if you do buy bottled water, the ones that I like that are less chemicals, less issues with the plastic bottles. Spring water is really good. and then filtered water. I mean, filtered water is my go-to. So I would highly recommend that. And then removing plastics as much as you can. There's so much chemicals, especially BPA, in plastics, like a lot. And for some people, it's almost worse for them than being exposed to gluten, because it can be such a disruption to your T3 receptors. So use glass storage as much as you can. And if you're heating food, never heat in plastic, because the plastic, the microwave heating, it actually causes the chemicals that are in those plastics to leach into your food like times 20 because of the heating process with a microwave. Especially things like tomato sauce, acidic foods, it's even worse. So really, really try to use glass storage dishes for your food as much as you can. And then obviously personal care products, cleaning products, things like that. Really, really look at those. There's so many good ones out there now. Used to not be. They were few and far in between, and then they just didn't work very well. And now there's so many really good ones out there. I would highly suggest go to thinkdirty.com, and you can kind of plug in like beauty products, and it can kind of tell you like that beauty product has quite a bit of toxins. This one would be better. It'll kind of rank like where that product is on how poor or how good it is. Beauty care products, there's so many out there. As far as like makeup goes, Beauty Counter is like one of my go-to ones as far as makeup goes. They have skincare as well. Tula is one of my favorite skincares that I use as well. I've talked about this before on some other videos and some of my posts, but if you want more information on that, I can kind of help you a little bit with that. And then cleaning products, again, there's so many out there that you can use. But just be careful when you're looking at them. A lot of them put like essential oils in them, which is phenomenal. I love those. But some products put essential oils to make it look like it's a clean product, and then it still has all the chemicals in it. So just make sure you're looking at that and really assess what you're doing with that, because it can totally be a game changer. Okay. If you have more questions, let me know. Reach out to me if you have any more questions about this. And want more information, and I will put the links below of the websites that I suggested, and I also still have my free guide going too. So if you want that, grab that. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.